Welcome, my name is Lea Diane, and this is beginner yoga. We're going to begin in a seat on our mat, just a simple cross-legged position. Today I have yoga blocks. If you have yoga blocks, you can use these as props to help you, assist you in your practice. They are optional. I'll give you some modifications that don't require yoga blocks in case you don't have any. So all you need is a mat, and you don't even need a mat. You can just have a nice space that you can move freely. A good 6 foot by 3 foot kind of space is pretty much going to work out best for you. So again, we'll start seated on our mat. Our spine is lengthened, so we're really sitting up straight and tall here. We're going to begin by closing our eyes, allowing the back of our wrists to rest on our knees, and begin by taking a few breaths, breathing in through our nose and exhaling through our mouths. Bringing awareness into our bodies and connecting with our breath. Take a moment here to notice where you are in your space on your mat. Clearing your mind, creating space so that you can be open to practicing, moving freely in your body. And maybe setting an intention for your practice, thinking of what brought you here today, why you're sitting on your mat, and what you're hoping to accomplish and achieve during this time that you're taking for yourself. Just move and feel in your body. With each inhale, think of really opening and expanding your lungs. With each exhale, think of releasing tension from your body, sitting up a little straighter. On your next inhale, you can open your eyes and reach your arms all the way up toward the ceiling. Reach as high as you can, lengthening through your spine. And on the exhale, folding forward, keeping your hip bones on the mat, but walking your hands forward to find length through your spine. When you reach your greatest depth, take another inhale, find a little bit more length, and on the exhale, folding forward. And walk your hands over to the right side, keeping your hip bones on the mat. Again, you'll inhale to lengthen your spine, and on the exhale, fold. Then walking your hands over to the left side. Inhale for length. Exhale, fold. Coming back through the center, walk your hands back toward yourself. Take a big wide inhale, opening, expanding your lungs, reaching your arms up toward the ceiling. On the exhale, drop your left hand to the right knee. Bring the right arm behind you. Take an inhale to lengthen your spine. And on the exhale, twist and look over the right shoulder. Inhale back up through center. On the exhale, dropping the right arm, reaching back with the left. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, twist and look over the left shoulder. Inhaling back up through center. On the exhale, drop the right arm, reach over with the left, lengthening through the left side, looking up toward the ceiling. Then walk your bottom hand fingers out a little bit further, keeping your hip bones on the mat. Find some more length through the left side. Then bend your left elbow and reach toward your right shoulder. Twist a little bit deeper, looking up toward the ceiling. Inhale back up through center, reaching your arms high. On the exhale, dropping the left arm, reaching all the way over with the right, lengthening through the right side, looking up toward the ceiling. Then walk your bottom hand fingers out a tiny bit further. Find a little bit more length and space, but keep your hip bones on the mat. Then bend your right elbow, reaching toward the left shoulder. You'll twist and look up toward the ceiling. Inhale, reach your arms all the way back up toward the ceiling. On the exhale, press your palms to heart center. Then release your hands to your knees. We'll inhale, draw our chest forward, looking up toward the ceiling. On the exhale, pull your navel to your spine, rounding through your back, creating length through your spine. Inhale, draw your chest forward, looking up toward the ceiling. Exhale, navel to spine, rounding through your back. Inhale, lift. Exhale, navel to spine. We'll take 2 more breaths. Inhale, lift. And exhale, navel to spine. 1 more breath here, big inhale. And exhale, back to neutral. Placing your hands on your ankles, you'll draw your chest forward, then rock over to the right side, sink toward the back edge, and then rock over to the right. Inhale, pull your shoulder blades together, looking up toward the ceiling, and then exhale, round through your spine as you sink toward the back edge, trying to keep your hip bones on the mat, making big circles at the waist. Let's take 2 more rotations here. Coming back through neutral, take a big inhale, reach your arms up toward the ceiling. Exhale, press your palms to heart center. Then switch the cross of your feet by sinking your weight back into your hips, lifting your legs, and then crossing. Good. Reach back down, grab your ankles. Take an inhale, draw your chest forward. This time rock to the left side. Sink toward the back edge, and then over to the right, making big circles. Moving with our breath here. Inhaling as we draw our chest forward. Exhale as we sink toward the back edge. So really lengthening through the sides of our bodies, opening up through our lungs. Kind of prepping our core here to move through the rest of our practice. We'll take 2 more rotations. And come back through a neutral spine. Big wide inhale, we're reaching our arms overhead. On the exhale again, folding forward, walking our hands forward, keeping our hip bones on the mat. We'll inhale for length, and on the exhale, folding forward. Walking your hands again over to the right side. Find another inhale for length, and on the exhale, fold, bringing your forehead toward your knee. Then walking your hands over to the left side. Again, inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold. Then walk your hands back through the center. We'll shift our weight forward so we transition into tabletop position. So on your mat, we'll look like this. You want your knees to end up below your hips, and you want your wrists to end up below your shoulders. We'll drop our belly on the inhale, looking up toward the ceiling. And on the exhale, we'll pull our navel to our spine for cat and cow. So drop your belly, inhale, look up. This is your cow pose, and on the exhale, pull your navel to your spine, rounding your back for cat pose. So inhale, look up. Exhale, navel to spine. Inhale, look up. Exhale, navel to spine. We'll take 2 more breaths here. And last one. Good, we'll come back through our tabletop position. Walk our fingers about 6 inches forward. You're going to drop your hips over to the right. Then swing through the center over to the left. On the inhale, drop your hips, look up toward the ceiling, and we're making big figure 8 shape with our body. So sinking our hips back, all the way over to the left. Inhale, lift your chest, drop your hips, really opening everything up. So big rotations here. And let's take those circles in reverse. So this time you'll drop your hips over to the left side, then sink over to the right. Drop your hips, inhale, look up toward the ceiling. Sink your hips back to the left, then over to the right. Big circles here. Let's take one more rotation. Try to find as much length and space as you can to open everything up. We're going to finish with our hips dropped toward the mat, looking up toward the ceiling. Kind of soften through your elbows here. And we're just going to gently rock side to side so you begin to really lengthen through the sides of your body. Come back through neutral. Spread your knees wide, sink your hips back, and come into a child's pose. You're going to walk your hands together, press your palms together, then bend your elbows to bring your thumbs toward the back of your neck. So you're stretching through your triceps here, finding a little bit more length. You can even walk your elbows a little bit further away from you and bring your chest toward the mat if you have any more space. Good. Release your hands to the mat. We'll shift back into our tabletop position, so bringing our knees in line with our hips. Want your wrists below your shoulders. We're going to straighten through the left leg, pressing the tip of our toes onto the edge of the mat. And then lift your left leg, reaching forward with the right arm. See if you can find your balance here. Take an inhale to lengthen our spine, and on the exhale, bring your knee and elbow together beneath you. Inhale, reach, lengthen. Exhale, pull everything together. Inhale, reach. Exhale, crunch. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And on the last one, bend the left knee, reach back with your right hand. See if you can catch your foot or ankle. Kick that foot into your hand to lift your chest, stretching through your hip flexors and looking forward toward the front of your mat. Good. And then release. Right back through your tabletop position. Let's switch to the opposite side. So you'll straighten through the right leg, pressing the tip of your toes onto the edge of the mat, stretching through your right calf. Then lifting the right leg, reaching forward with the left arm. We'll take an inhale. On the exhale, bring your knee and elbow together beneath you. Inhale, reach, lengthen. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, reach. Exhale, crunch. 2 more breaths here. Then inhale, reach back, catch that right ankle, kick that foot into your hand, lift your chest and look forward. Good. And then release, right back through tabletop position. Good. We're going to tuck our toes, lift our hips, and press right up into downward dog. Maybe bend one knee or the other so you create length and space through your hamstrings and calves. You can try twisting through your shoulders a few times, maybe even lifting your toes if you can sink your heels all the way down to the mat. And then step your feet to the edges of the mat so that are going to come a little bit wider. Walk your hands back to your feet. Grab your elbows and just rock gently side to side. If you need to bend your knees slightly here, you can. You want to be really lengthening through your lower back. So figure out what works best for you, slowly working towards straightening through your legs and just rocking gently side to side. Good. Come back through neutral. Sweep your arms up behind your back. Interlace your fingers and then straighten through your arms to open up through your chest and shoulders. And then allow your hands to sink toward the ground as you fold a little bit deeper forward. Awesome. Bend through your elbows to bring the top of your hands to your lower back, and then pull your elbows forward so they come toward the ground to stretch and lengthen between your shoulder blades. Good. Then release your hands back to the mat. Take our right hand and reach to the outside edge of our left foot. Bend through your right knee so that you twist and then reach up toward the ceiling with the left arm. And if you can't get that right hand all the way down to your foot, you can just bring it somewhere along your leg. It might look more like that. Otherwise, we're here, twisting, looking up over that left arm. If you've got a little bit more space here, maybe bring the left arm behind your back and see if you can catch your right thigh. Other variations you can try straightening to the right leg. You can also reach the right arm between your legs and see if you can bind with that hand behind your back. Good. And then release. Let's try twisting to the opposite side. So the left hand's going to walk over to the outside edge of the right foot. You're going to bend the left knee and then twist, reaching up toward the ceiling with the right arm. Again, if you can't get all the way to the ground, you can just come somewhere along your shin. And it will look like that. Maybe try reaching your right arm behind your back and see if you can catch your left thigh. You can also try straightening your left leg. Maybe bind by reaching between your legs of the left arm and catch that hand behind your back. Good. And then release. Bring your hands back to the mat. You're going to walk your hands forward so you come back into your downward dog. So step your feet back to hips width apart. Really press your shoulders toward the ground, lengthening through your spine. Again, you can bend one knee or bend the other. Find some space here. Good. Then shift your weight forward so that your shoulders line back up with your elbows. Then you're going to bend through your elbows so that your elbows line up with your wrists, lowering all the way down toward the mat. Then on the inhale, lift your chest, untuck your toes, look up toward the ceiling for upward dog. On the exhale, lift your hips, press all the way back into downward dog. Good. On the inhale, lift the right leg all the way up toward the ceiling for three-legged dog. Bend through your knees so you open up through your hip, and then just draw circles on the ceiling with your right knee. Keep your arms straight, left leg straight, just moving the right knee, opening up through the hip, and then try those circles in reverse. Good. Inhale, extend the right leg all the way up toward the ceiling. On the exhale, step forward between your hands, lower through your back knee, that's your left knee. Make sure that your right knee ended up over your right ankle. And then begin to bend and straighten through the front leg as you fold forward. Here you can use yoga blocks. So if you can't quite reach the ground, have an opportunity to keep your chest lifted a little bit higher. Good. When you're ready, you're going to bend through that front knee, walk your hands up to your knee, and on the inhale, reach your arms up toward the ceiling. Reach as high as you can, really lengthening through your spine, maybe even adding in a slight back bend here if you have any more space. And drop your left hand to the mat and reach over with the right arm so you're lengthening through the right side. If you can't quite reach the mat on the left, this is another opportunity to use a yoga block so you're a little bit higher off the ground as you reach over. And you can change the orientation of this yoga block depending on how much height you need. Good. Then inhale up through the center. Let's switch to the opposite side. Again, if you're going to use that yoga block, place it on the right. Reaching over with the left, lengthening through the left side, looking up toward the ceiling. Okay. Then place your hands back on the mat. Begin to straighten through the right leg for a half split. You can try pointing and flexing your right foot a few times. Maybe rock your toes side to side, warming up through our hamstring here on the right. You can even rub your hamstring if it's super tight. When you're ready, inhale to find length through your spine, and on the exhale, begin to fold forward over the right leg. Good. Inhale, lengthen your spine, bending through the right knee. We're going to heel toe our foot over to the right side, bringing our hands onto the inside. Then sink to the outside edge of your right foot so you open up through your hip. Take your right hand and press against the inside of your right thigh, and then twist and look up toward the ceiling over the right shoulder. If you have a little bit more space here, you can come down onto your forearms. You can also use a yoga block here if you want to go a little bit deeper but can't quite get down to the mat. So that will give you a little bit more space. You can even come onto the side of that yoga block. And wherever you're at, bend through the left knee, reach back with the right hand. See if you can twist and catch your foot or ankle, and then twist to look up toward the ceiling over that right shoulder. Good. Bring your hands back to the mat. Step back into a plank. Hug your elbows into your sides for chaturanga, bottom of a push-up. Untuck your toes, inhale, lift your chest for upward dog. And on the exhale, lift your hips, pressing back to downward dog. And just taking a few breaths here, find some more length through your spine. Again, you can bend one knee, bend the other. Maybe twist out your shoulders a few times, really sink into this stretch. On the inhale, lift the left leg all the way up toward the ceiling for three-legged dog. Bending through your knee, make big circles on the ceiling, really opening up through that left hip. Good, and then take those circles in reverse. Good. Inhale, extend that left leg all the way up toward the ceiling. On the exhale, step forward between your hands, lowering the back right knee onto the mat, untucking your back toe. You can begin to bend and straighten through that left leg. So again, this would be another good opportunity to use yoga blocks if you need them. You can place them on the side of your mat so that you can bend and straighten through that front leg and maybe get a little bit more depth if you can't quite reach the mat. We'll finish with our left knee bent. On the inhale, reaching our arms up toward the ceiling, really opening up through our chest, reaching as high as we can, finding some length. And if this isn't quite possible for you, you can keep your hands on your knee and really press back to open up through your chest. Then dropping your right hand to the mat, we'll reach over with the left arm, so we're lengthening through the left side. If you want to use a yoga block here, that option is available. You can grab the block so that you have something to rest against as you lengthen to the left. Then inhale up through the center, switching sides, placing the yoga block on the left. We'll reach over with the right arm, looking up toward the ceiling. Good. And coming back through the center, we'll straighten through the left leg for a half split. Taking a moment here to point and flex your left foot a few times. Maybe rocking your toes side to side. If your hamstrings are really tight, you can try rubbing your hamstrings just to help release any tension there. And as you're ready, inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold over the left leg. Bending through your left knee, heel toe your foot to the edge of the mat, bringing your hands onto the inside of your left leg, maybe sinking to the outside edge of your foot. Then take your left hand, press against the inside of your left thigh, twisting and looking up toward the ceiling over your left shoulder. If you want to sink a little bit deeper here, you can come down onto your right forearm, or you can use a yoga block for something kind of in between. Another option here. Wherever you're at, reach back with your left hand, bend the right knee, and see if you can catch your right ankle, twisting and looking up over your left shoulder. So this can be down on your forearm. So you've got lots of options here, really finding a nice deep twist. Good. Then bringing your hands back to the mat. We'll lift our back knee, stepping back into our plank, hugging our elbows into our sides for chaturanga, bottom of a push-up. Inhale, lifting your chest, upward dog. And on the exhale, lifting your hips, pressing back to downward dog. Good. Walk your feet to the center of your mat and then roll all the way up to standing. Taking a big inhale, we'll reach our arms all the way up toward the ceiling. Really lengthening through our spine, our feet, our hips width apart, and we're going to twist side to side so we find more length and space through our spine. Good. Coming back through the center. On the exhale, we'll press our palms to heart center, then releasing our hands to our sides. Take another inhale, reach our arms all the way overhead. On the exhale, we're going to drop the left arm and reach over with the right so we lengthen through the right side, looking up toward the ceiling. So you really want to feel a nice deep stretch all the way through this right side. Then inhale back up through the center. On the exhale, switching sides, dropping the right arm, we'll reach over with the left, really lengthening through the left side, looking up toward the ceiling. Find a little bit of length and space here. Inhale back up through center. On the exhale, press your palms down to heart center. Then release your hands to your sides. See if you can wiggle your toes, shifting the weight onto your heels. And then try shifting your weight onto the ball of your feet so that you lift your heels and see if you can balance on your tippy toes. And sink down to your heels, lift your toes again so you're balancing on your heels. You're going to have to really scoop your belly in here so that you keep your core tight so that you can lift your toes and find some balance. Good. Then inhale, straightening through your legs, lifting your heels. Let's reach our arms all the way up toward the ceiling. And on the exhale, see if you can fold forward, staying on your tippy toes all the way down until you touch the mat. If you need to bend your knees to get here, you can. Good. Folding forward. Good. Then releasing your hands, we'll slowly roll all the way back up to standing, stacking the vertebrae of our spine. Take an inhale, reach your arms overhead. And on the exhale, again, pressing our palms to heart center. Good. We're going to shift the weight onto our left foot so we lift our right heel. This time we're going to bring our right foot to the inside of our left shin, finding a balance in tree pose. So you can stay right here. This might be good enough for you. If this is too difficult to balance, just leave the tip of your toes on the ground right next to your heel so that you can keep some alignment here. If it's too hard to keep your hands at heart center, you can bring your arms out to the sides. And in worst case scenario, you can touch a wall gently just to keep your balance. Otherwise, we're going to stay right here. If you've got more space and you've got a little bit better balance, you can try bringing that foot back up onto your shin, or maybe even bring up all the way onto the inside of your left thigh. Good. Pressing your palms to heart center, really lengthen through your spine, finding your balance, noticing the weight of your body as it distributes over that left foot, keeping everything really nice and solid. Good. Then inhale, sweep your arms wide, bend your elbows, bring your arms behind your back, and see if you can catch the opposite wrist. Maybe even press your palms together behind your back so your fingertips go up toward the ceiling for reverse prayer. So reverse prayer looks like this. Palms are pressed together, fingertips up toward the ceiling. Good. Good. Then release your hands. Another big inhale, reach your arms up toward the ceiling. Exhale again, press your palms back to heart center. Then release your left hand to your left hip. Take your right hand, peace fingers, that's your first two fingers. You're going to grab your right big toe, and you're going to see if you can straighten through the right leg. If straightening this leg is not happening today, just bend your knee and place your hand in front of your knee. So you've got some options here. Good. Then open the right knee out to the right side. Good. And if you were here, that big toe grabbed, you're going to sweep that leg out to the side. Good. And then you're going to look over your left shoulder. Good. Wherever you're at, come back through the center. If that knee is bent, you're going to take the left hand, place it on the outside edge of the right knee, bring your right hand to your hip, and then twist to look over the right shoulder. So from the side, it's going to look more like this. Oops. Get a little bit better spot here. Twist and look over the right shoulder. Good. Then release that left knee or foot if you ended up here. Good. You're going to bring that knee down toward the opposite knee. Take that right hand, catch the inside edge of your ankle, and then reach up toward the ceiling with the left arm. And you can just stay here, finding your balance here. If you want to play with dancer, you can kick that foot into your hand and begin to reach forward with the left arm, finding your balance here. And then release that right leg. We'll take another big inhale, reaching our arms all the way up toward the ceiling. And on the exhale, we're going to fold forward, reaching toward our toes. This time, we're going to slide our hands under our feet. Inhale, lengthen our spine, and on the exhale, fold forward. So if you can't get your hands under your feet, you can bend through your knees to find some space here so that you're a little bit closer to the ground. So if you don't quite have that hamstring flexibility, just try sliding your hands under your feet here. As you fold forward, gradually begin to straighten your legs, see where you end up. Good. Untuck your hands. Again, rolling all the way up to standing, stacking the vertebrae of your spine, kind of realigning here. Take another big inhale. Reach our arms all the way up toward the ceiling, and on the exhale, pressing our palms to heart center. Good. We're going to switch to the opposite side. So now we're shifting our weight onto our right foot, lifting our left leg, pulling our foot to the inside of our right shin, finding your balance somewhere here along this leg. And if you need to keep your toes on the ground, this is okay. Yep. Otherwise, we're here on the shin, or maybe you're going to come all the way up onto the inside of the right thigh. Pressing your palms together, keeping your spine lifted and lengthened. Taking a moment to find your balance. And again, you can bring your arms out to the sides. You can rest one hand against a wall. Find some balance here. Good. Inhale, sweep your arms wide. Bend your elbows, press your palms together, bringing your tips of your fingers up toward the ceiling for your reverse prayer. So again, reverse prayer, it looks like this. Yep, palms are pressing together, trying to slide them up your back, see if you can find any space. Otherwise, you're just grabbing your wrists, and this is okay too. So we're coming back into our tree. Got our fingertips pressing up toward the ceiling or grabbing onto something back there. Then release. Inhale, reaching your arms all the way up toward the ceiling. Exhale again, press your palms back to heart center. Then bring your right hand to your hip. You're going to take your left hand, peace fingers, that's your first two fingers. You're going to grab your left big toe, and you're going to begin to straighten through that left leg. And again, if that's not happening today, you're just going to grab your left knee. Okay. And whatever you've grabbed onto, you're going to pull that out to the left side. Okay. So again, that alternate variation. You've got that foot. Then we're going to twist and look over that right shoulder. Good. And then release. Sweep that left leg forward. You can grab the outside edge of your foot and then reach back with that left arm. Or the bent knee variation, which is going to be the little bit easier variation, is grabbing the outside edge of that knee, twisting and looking over the left shoulder. Good. Then sweep that left leg back behind you, catch the inside edge of your foot, and then reach up with the right arm. Find your balance here, and you can just stay here, or you can begin to kick that foot into your hand and shift into dancer. So that's going to be a little bit harder variation here. And then slowly release out of that, bringing your feet back to hips width apart. Big inhale, reaching your arms overhead. And on the exhale, again, folding forward. This time we're going to take our peace fingers, that's our first two fingers. We're going to wrap around our big toes. We're going to inhale, lengthen our spine. And on the exhale, folding forward. Again, if you have to bend your knees to get your hands down here, you can. So from the side, it will look like this. If you have to bend your knees, otherwise you're going to try to straighten through your legs if you can and fold forward. Good. Then bend through your knees, place your hips on the ground, and lift your shins all the way up toward the ceiling for boat pose. So it's kind of a tricky transition if this is your first class. You can bring your hands under your shins and stay here nice and low. Otherwise, you're going to straighten through your legs, looking up toward the ceiling. You can grab your ankles, find your balance here. Good. And then release. Place your feet back on the mat. You're going to spread your knees wide. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. On the exhale, roll forward so you place your hands back on the mat and then step right back into your downward dog. So we'll take just a few breaths here. If you want to bend one knee or the other, you still have that available to you. On the inhale, we're going to lift the right leg all the way up toward the ceiling for three-legged dog. On the exhale, we're going to sweep that right leg forward, but place our shin on the mat, and then untuck our back toe. So we're setting up for pigeon here. In a perfect world, that right shin would be parallel with the front of the mat, but you would also have the top of that left thigh pressing onto the mat. So if that doesn't quite work for you, pull that right leg in just enough so that you can get onto the top of that left thigh. Then inhale to lengthen your spine. And on the exhale, we're going to fold forward over the right leg. So pigeon is a really deep stretch through that IT band on the right. It's a really good hip opener, but it's a lot of major muscles, so it's a good pose to spend a little bit more time kind of sinking into and kind of really syncing your breath with your body so that you can melt into this pose. When you're ready, on the inhale, lifting your chest, walk your hands back, see if you can really open up through your spine. You can use yoga blocks here to find a little bit more space. Really push against the blocks, find a little bit more opening through your back. Good. Another option you can try is bending through your left knee and see if you can catch your ankle. And if that's not happening, you can use a yoga strap. I don't actually have one here, but you can use a yoga strap to pull that ankle in a little bit closer. And if that's not happening at all, you can even just keep your hands on the mat and just try bending through that knee and really pulling your heel toward the back of your head. So I've got some different options here to help you to develop the strength so that you can catch that foot or ankle once you have the flexibility in that left hip flexor. Other options is you can hook your elbow. You can reach up and over with the right arm. And you can twist and look up toward the ceiling. Good. And then release. Take that left leg, sweeping it forward. We're going to cross it over the right knee. So I'll show you this from the front here. You're going to try to keep your hip bones pressing into the mat. On the inhale, you're going to reach up toward the ceiling with the right arm. On the exhale, you're going to either grab that left knee and pull it closer toward you or catch your elbow on the outside edge of that left knee. You're going to twist and look over the left shoulder. Good. And then release. Place your hands back on the mat at the front of the mat. We're going to lift our hips and step right back into our plank. Hug your elbows into your sides for chaturanga, bottom of a push-up. On the inhale, lifting your chest, looking up toward the ceiling. And on the exhale, lifting your hips, pressing back to downward dog. Good. On the inhale, lift the left leg all the way up toward the ceiling. On the exhale, sweep that left leg forward for pigeon on the left. Good. So again, in our perfect pigeon, we'd have the front of that left shin parallel with the front of the mat. But if you're not quite that flexible, just allow it to sink back in toward you so that you can get the top of that right thigh pressing onto the mat. We're going to inhale to lengthen through our spine, and on the exhale, we'll begin to fold forward over the left leg. So we'll take a few breaths here, just let gravity really open up through that IT band and hip on the left. And we'll just take a few more breaths. Good. On the inhale, lifting your chest, bending through the right knee. You can catch that foot or ankle, maybe pull that foot in nice and tight. So again, if you can't quite reach that ankle, you can just bend through that knee really tight, or you can use a yoga strap. So I've got some other options here. That's just if you want to push it a little bit deeper. Otherwise, you can try reaching up with the left arm. If you've got a little more flexibility, find some alternate positioning here to pull yourself into a little bit deeper of a stretch. Then release that right leg, sweep it forward so that you cross that right ankle over your left knee. And again, I'll turn to the front so that you can see this a little bit easier. We're going to inhale, reach up with the left arm. Exhale, cross that left elbow over the right knee. Bring the right arm behind your back. Take an inhale to lengthen through your spine. And on the exhale, twist and look over the right shoulder. So if this isn't quite working for you, you can just hug that left leg in, or right leg in nice and tight. Twisting, looking over the right shoulder. Awesome. All right, go ahead and release. We're going to place our feet at the front of the mat. Bring our hips back into the center of the mat, and then we're going to roll down along the mat. So we bring our lower back to the mat, and then rest our shoulders on the mat. We'll tuck our right knee into our chest, and then we're going to straighten through the left leg. Pull that right knee in nice and tight, and then bring that the right knee over to the left side. Keeping your right shoulder on the mat, we'll twist, and then look over to the right. So we're twisting, looking over the right shoulder. I'm using my left hand to continue pressing my right knee down toward the ground, so I'm really twisting through my spine here. Good. And then take your right knee and pull it over to the right side so you open up through your hip. Good. You can bring that left arm out to the side. Again, we want to keep that left shoulder on the mat. If you have a little bit more flexibility and you'd like to try straightening that right leg, you can catch your big toe and really open up through that right hip. Good. Then pull that right leg back and through the center. Another option would be to keep your knee bent. Or you can straighten that leg, pulling the right shin toward your forehead. So you're really opening up through that hamstring on the right. See how much space you have here. Good. And then you're going to bend the right knee, place your right ankle on top of the left thigh, and then pull that left knee in toward your chest. So we're really opening up through that right hip. You can bring your elbow on the inside of that right knee to press that knee away from you. Good. And then go ahead and release. Straighten through the right leg. Tuck your left knee into your chest. You can bring your left arm out to the left side and then twist to pull that right knee over to the right. Good. Then bring that left knee back across through the center. You're going to open out to the left side, keeping your shoulders on the mat. Maybe reaching out with that right arm. Another option would be to catch that big toe, straighten through the left leg, really open up through your hip if you have a little bit more flexibility and want to push it a little bit deeper. Good. Then pull that left leg back and through the center. If you've got that left leg straight, you can keep it there. If you have the knee bent, you can keep your knee bent also. Whichever variation you opt for, you can try pulling that shin in toward your nose. Maybe rub that left hamstring if it's really tight. See where you might end up here. Good. Then bend through your left knee and place your left ankle on top of your right thigh. Hugging that right knee in toward your chest, really opening up through the hip. You can use your left elbow against the inside edge of your left knee or thigh and really pull that in nice and tight. So really deep stretch here. This is called figure 4. Good. And then go ahead and release. You're going to place both feet on the mat, hips width apart. You're going to inhale, reach your arms overhead, and you're just going to drop your knees side to release tension from your hips. So we call these windshield wipers. Just dropping our knees side to side. Good. And come back through neutral. Tuck your knees into your chest. We're going to draw big circles on the ceiling with our knees. So really massaging through our lower back. And then try those circles in reverse. Awesome. Then grab the outside edges of your feet for happy baby, rocking gently side to side. You can also try rocking forward and back a few times. So you're massaging through the whole length of your spine. So side to side, or forward and back, or variations of those. And then lower your legs back to the mat, straighten through your legs. You're going to inhale to reach your arms overhead. Give yourself a big inhale here, really lengthening through your spine, reaching your fingers as far overhead as you can, extending through your toes. Taking one last big inhale here. And on the exhale, you'll allow your body to relax, bringing your arms along your sides. Allow your feet to fall out to the sides. We'll transition from here into our Shavasana, clearing our minds, melting into our mats, releasing any remaining tension from our bodies, and taking the last few minutes of class just to completely rest in Shavasana. So as we rest here in Shavasana, you may notice some discomforts in your body, maybe a little bit tight or sore, maybe something that feels like it needs to be adjusted. And try to just notice those feelings and let them go. So as you rest here, try to remain completely still, resisting any urge to change anything, so that you can find comfort and discomfort in your body to help you develop resiliency in your life. beginning to awaken from Shavasana. You can wiggle your fingers and toes, bringing a little bit of feeling and life back into your body. When you're ready, gently tuck your knees into your chest. Gently rock side to side, and then gradually make your way back to a seat on your mat. So we'll finish where we started, back in our simple cross-legged position. You can allow the back of your wrist to rest on your knees, sitting up straight and tall. We'll take one last deep inhale from here, reaching our arms over our heads, reaching up toward the ceiling. And on the exhale, pressing your palms back to heart center. Thank you so much for joining me. It was my honor and privilege to guide you in your practice. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and namaste.